Okay, sorry. You were concerned about the
Gaffigan, by the way, is a Hoosier. He's from Indiana, and he's a huge Colts fan. But yeah, so like I'm kind of down about the horrific mistreatment of the majority of America's chickens. So then I get up this morning, and it gets even worse, dude. More heart wrenching news.
Okay.
Yeah, uh, folks in Missouri Thursday holding a candlelight vigil for dead deer.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know about you. This thing's planned for Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend. I mean, I don't know if you will or not, but I'm thinking maybe Thursday, maybe at the end of the show, beginning of the show, like they do at baseball games and stuff. I think maybe a moment of silence or something for all the deer that have been slaughtered in Missouri, man.
You know what? That's a really good idea. Although you know what they do to deer is pretty delicious too. I'd have to say.
Yeah, I'm not a big venison fan. Do you really like it?
Yeah, you know what? I like eating dead animals. So,
Right.
you know.
But yeah, deer. I mean, deer do nothing to anyone, dude.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I just didn't want to let that slide, and planted in our brains that the three of us should hold a collective moment of silence, maybe Thursday, for all the deer that are murdered in the country. Anyway, all right. So what do we got? We got like 15 minutes here. You sent me some stuff. Let's just for the hell of it, because I'm kind of in a feisty mood right now. Who likes bison? Jessica likes bison. How's them? Have you ever eaten bison? I'm sure you have.
I have.
To me, you guys, it tastes like beef, only with less flavor.
Man, that is so good. If you just have to have the person that knows how to make it. But if
Now,
you
all
have
I've ever
that,
had is a
it's
bison
delicious.
burger. I mean, you can go
Oh
online
no,
and buy
yeah.
bison steaks and stuff, but
Don't even
There's a
bother with the
place
burger.
that
You
I
want the
was
steak.
at when we adopted Jack, my number three kid. So it'll be 15 years ago this May. I was in I don't know if it was in Nashville or maybe Bowling Green, Kentucky. There was a place that we went to that I want to say it was owned by Ted Turner. That
yeah, it's
was
Ted's. It's a chain. Yeah, there's one here, a couple here in Indianapolis. Exactly.
that it's not. I don't know if it's bison or buffalo
Well, that's
or
the same thing, but he
It
he
is.
owns ranches with bison slash buffalo.
right, but it's a chain of restaurants,
Right.
and it's not. It's not like you're eating horse meat, but I forget what it's called.
It's called Ted's something.
Yeah, and you know what? So I had an appetizer and something else, and I thought it was, I thought it was great.
So, did you have a bison burger, or did you have a steak?
No, you can't have the burger. The burger, I will agree with you. It doesn't hold the flavor. Um, the steak is the best way to have it.
So it tastes like beef only. What I mean, I said that the
To
burger
me, the
was less flavorful. The one that I had.
it has a
How would you compare bison to beef?
it does taste kind of like beef, except for to me, like the steak, it has a little bit more of it's a little bit of a different flavor, but it's very rich to me. So I thought it was really good. But you definitely have to go to a place that knows how to make it.
Okay, it's
Um,
Now,
called Montana Grill.
Ted's Montana Grill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as I Google it, they're closing all over the place a couple of years ago.
Uh, so how's them? Do you concur with Jessica? I mean, you liked it.
um, yeah, you know what? I'm looking at it here. Nashville. Yeah, I thought you know what? I thought it was fine. I was at a oh man, what was it called? When I was in Nairobi, Kenya, a trillion years ago, right after I graduated from high school, I went to a restaurant called the Carnivore in
Uh-huh.
Nairobi, and basically they served every single kind of game animal that you can actually eat in the country of Kenya.
Right, and that's common all over Africa.
Right. So I mean, it's oh gosh, we ate crocodile and water buffalo and wildebeest and springbok and I mean just on and on and on and on.
oh yeah,
But
gator's good
frankly,
too.
between the charbroiling and the seasoning and the overdone, which they all were, they all tasted exactly the same to me.
See, I just can't, man.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
the thing. That's the big thing. Is like I went to a restaurant and they can't you can't overcook bison. Bison has to be at least medium. That's the most you want to do to bison.
Well, you shouldn't overcook beef either, or chicken, or anything else for that matter. Pork, and most people do. Um, so how's them? Well, you don't need to go. My daughter was. I always say we don't go there, then I do. I'm just OCD. My daughter was in Nairobi, and when she was in college, and they went out into the bush or whatever and spent several days with a Maasai. And they out. I guess I'm telling you this to ask if you would do it, because I would not. As part of the treatment, them being treated as guests for dinner by the Maasai, they slaughtered a goat. They sit around the campfire. The fire. They eat it. My daughter, and well, she's just with another group. They can see kind of the remnants, if you will, of the goat kind of off. Not real close, but off, not real far away either. Dude, I could never do that.
Oh, my experience when we were there for a campus crusade thing, and we were doing that for like a week and a half.
That's her deal too.
Oh wow! So then after that, we left Nairobi and we spent 3 days at the Amboseli Game Reserve, which I don't know orientation wise, but we were on this little dirt road out of Nairobi, driving straight towards Mount Kilimanjaro for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in this old Toyota truck on this
Right.
dirt road. I mean, it was just forever, ever, ever.
Right.
And in the middle of absolute nowhere, there's this Maasai warrior that was walking along the side of the road. And the guy who driving pulled off to the side. Um, my dad, who was sitting in the front, hopped in back, and the Maasai warrior hopped in the front. And he's wearing his little tiny rag thing around his body. He's got his long spear. He's got his earlobes. They cut him with gauges, and then they cut the earlobes, and then they kind of flip it over the ear. The guy obviously, they're little. These little tiny guys, like 5'3", probably 40 years old. Probably 20 years old. He just looked 40 years old.
That's probably true.
And rode with us for a couple of hours. And my brother and I'm 18, my brother's 16, and we sat the entire time absolutely terrified.
I think you told me this a long time ago. Did you have armed guards when Amy was there with her group? They literally had armed guards when they went places.
There were armed guards at the place that we stayed.
Right.
That was kind of a safari lodge out in the middle of Nowheresville. And they warned us, at night, do not leave your bungalow. Do not go down the road at any time during the day where the, what are the big animals that live in the water called?
Rhinoceroses.
No.
Hippos?
No, rhinoceroses
Hippos.
love what?
Hippopotamus.
I met hippos. Hippos kill more people in Africa than any other animal.
Yeah, that's exactly what they told us.
Yeah.
So there were, when we went back to dinner, we were escorted by guys with rifles and all that kind of thing. I mean, it's a serious business, man.
There's no question. Hey, listen, we got okay, that was fun. Guys, that's the way you listen to this show, because you get not only politics, but you get human interest stuff and random crap that we think is interesting as hell. But Michael, we got 6 minutes. Let's talk about this post. You sent me this. I think it's a Nick Morphus post from IJR. But just talk just a tad about the one network that owns cable news, has for virtually ever, dude.
You know what? Yeah. It did not surprise me that Fox News is 13 years at the top of all the cable news channels. It does surprise me how many more viewers they get. I mean, number 2 was CNN, that was far less than half. The final day, Fox News had 1 million viewers, CNN had 400,000, MSNBC had 348,000. And then HLN, I always forget, who the heck is HLN?
Yeah. Anymore, do you remember the old show Forensic Files? Like
Yeah.
they run that 24/7 sometimes, and they run a bunch of other stuff. But it's become kind of a joke. But yeah, headline news, the old headline CNN
Oh,
headline
that's
news.
it. Headline news. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, yeah. So it's overwhelming in terms of the cable news world, how Fox has done. In fact, there's like a bar graph, then there's also like a little dot graph, and I mean, I would imagine that the executives at CNN, MSNBC, and Headline News, who combined, let's see here, 750 a million. CNN, MSNBC, and Headline News combined don't have Fox News numbers.
Oh, there's no, and if you look, Drudge has on occasion it'll post the overnights from by show, and you look at the top, it's always O'Reilly, and then you've got the five. You got Megyn Kelly, those Hannity and Greta. Those are generally the top. But then you go back down to the bottom, and exactly what you just said when you talked about combined. You look at O'Reilly's numbers. When he's pulling 3.5 million or whatever have you, and then you go down and you combine. You combine CNN and MSNBC and multiply it by two, and it doesn't come anywhere near O'Reilly's numbers. And we're seeing the same thing with Megyn Kelly's show now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what though, I have an instinct, Mike. I think you and I are gonna have a show on MSNBC. I just had that feeling.
You've told me that before. Would we need bodyguards there?
Here's the thing: is at some point, somebody looks at the bottom line at MSNBC. They just have to. And there's a symbolic importance to what they do. There's a symbolism over substance agenda that they enforce. But there's somebody somewhere that actually has an adding machine and a pencil.
See, I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. I believed exactly what you just said when Comcast bought NBC. And that, dude, there's going to be some changes made here. Comcast is not buying NBC necessarily because they agree with the politics on MSNBC, let alone NBC. But nothing changed. Nothing changed at all. I don't think they give a damn. I mean, this is them, not me, and I'm paraphrasing, but they brag about when they're told how awful their numbers are and how awful they're in the toilet, but we get more black viewers than anyone. It's just, no, I don't think so. I just think that the ideology carries the day there, and I don't think there's any end in sight to that.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I think at some point, the end in sight will be when it's no longer in the black, or the owning corporation is less interested in subsidizing the red because of screaming shareholders.
I don't know. Again, that's why I like, you and I, we mostly agree, but sometimes we don't. I just think that they look at this thing as, even if it's going to eventually be a loss leader, that they get this loyal audience that laps up everything Tingles says, everything Rachel Maddow says, everything Crazy Ed Schultz says. I mean, look, what network other than MSNBC would have Al Sharpton on and pay him? I just think it's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though, is that they don't have Al Sharpton on because they think he's a genius. They don't have Al Sharpton on because of his scintillating, insightful evaluation of the news stories. They have Al Sharpton on because he's controversial, and that brings in a level of eyeballs.
Yeah, but he's controversial so far to the left and polarizing that's the people that listen. I don't know about you. I can't watch MSNBC. I mean, I do the YouTube clips and whatever have you. I can't watch it. I don't know a lot of conservatives that do. And I will watch CNN and some of the broadcast networks from time to time just to see what those people are saying. I can't watch it.
You know what? I think I do on occasion.
Bigger man than me.
That may be true.
All right. Anyway, we're out of here. First hour is out of here. Housem's back. We're all good to go. Don't go away. Jody Adler, Auntie Jody, will be with us.
This is Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 6th. Former